There are a ton of things great JRPGs have in common, one of them being their preferred way to soar the skies. I'm of course talking about the airship. Variations of the airship have been around since at least the early NES days. They always give me that extra sense of adventure when I finally get access to one and can fully explore the world from the sky. Many a side quest and hidden town have been discovered by these great vehicles, and it's time to talk about my top 10 JRPG airships. If you enjoy these videos, remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications to all. Now let's begin.
Number 10.
The first airship we have to talk about is the first airship I ever encountered. I'm talking about the flying balloon from Dragon Quest IV. Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior 4 as it was known on the NES, was and still is one of my favorite games of all time. And I just remember the excitement that came over me when I took to the air for the first time ever in a JRPG. I could now go almost everywhere in this world that I had already loved and spent so much time in. The way Dragon Quest IV's story is told through individual chapters creates an early bond between the player and the respective characters' local areas. It was just so incredible to be able to sail around in the skies and map out the locations of all the areas I've been to, as well as explore previously unreachable ones. For being extremely basic but highly useful and drenched in nostalgia for me, the flying balloon from Dragon Quest IV had to take the number 10 spot on the list.
Number 9.
Number 9 is from a game that not too many people have played. I played Albert Odyssey Legend of the Eldine for the first time this year, and overall it was a fairly mediocre JRPG experience. But the highlight of the entire game by far was its hilariously ridiculous airship, the Cornelius. A big part of the game is helping the people of Mycent develop the airship so you can reach the enemy's final fortresses. This bizarre looking giant goldfish is the most fun I've ever had flying an airship. You can fly at breakneck speed, ripping 360 no-scopes to your heart's desire, and Tokyo drift across half the damn world map. I love this derpy ass airship, and it just had to make the list.
Number 8.
The last Dragon Quest entrant in this video is one of the more unique airship-type vehicles of all time, Zenithia Castle. The Zenithian trilogy is linked through this magnificent castle from the skies, and in Dragon Quest V you actually get to power this bad boy up and fly it around the world yourself. It's just so cool being able to soar the skies in this gigantic, majestic castle. Being merely a myth in most of Dragon Quest IV, you knew it was going to appear in Dragon Quest V, but never imagined you'd be able to actually pilot the thing. For once again blowing my mind, the Dragon Quest series was able to lock in another spot on the list.
Number 7.
The Final Fantasy series is well known for their great airships, and one of my favorites is the big blue weapon of mass destruction, the Invincible. A ton of the events of Final Fantasy IX are centered or triggered around Garland and his exploits in the Invincible. He uses it to destroy the Summoner Village as he sees them as a potential threat to his plans, and later on the Invincible's power is even used to destroy the powerful summon Alexander as well as parts of the castle city of Alexandria. For being incredibly powerful, allowing you to traverse the world of Gaia better than any of the previous means of travel, and saving your ass on Terra, the Invincible deserves its place at number 7.
Number 6.
Chrono Trigger may have a fairly small world compared to other JRPGs, but the Epoch is incredibly important because it doesn't just travel through the air, but through time as well. When you first find this bad boy, you're able to use it as an escape to other time periods. But after that asshole Dalton and his goons steal it, and quite frankly make improvements to it, the Epoch can then take to the skies. Created by the great Balthazar, this time ship is an invaluable device in the game, and without it the heroes would never be able to save the timeline from the impending destruction by Lavos. For being one of the most useful and well-known airships, Chrono Trigger's Epoch launches into the number 6 position.
Number 5.
Okay, so for this one I may be bending what is and is not considered a JRPG. I generally don't consider games like Zelda to be JRPGs, but I had to make an exception so I could talk about the Flutter from Mega Man Legends. The Flutter is not only the main character's main means of travel through a world covered by endless water, it also happens to be their home. I just love the charm and feeling of home you develop for the Flutter over the course of the game, despite it not being able to fly for a good chunk of it. Right at the start, you can see how devastated the characters are when the Flutter begins its terrifying descent to a crash landing on Cadillac's Island. This theme is continued where at the beginning of Mega Man Legends 2, the whole damn airship catches fire. I loved how literally uplifting it was every time you progressed through the story and upgraded the Flutter bit by bit. In fact, if you think about it, most of what drives the cast to progress the story in Mega Man Legends is getting the Flutter back into the air where it belongs. I love the simplistic design, sense of home, and even just messing around and climbing on the Flutter. It was so badass when you got to take on the gigantic Gesellschaft with just the Flutter and some badass blue boy.
Number 4.
Evolving what we experienced with Dragon Quest V's Zenithian Castle, Breath of Fire 2 had the incredible Township. The Township started off as your typical JRPG immigrant town, where you can recruit NPCs from around the world to build your own personalized community. I've always loved immigrant towns, especially when they have a chance to actually impact the main story of the game, and Breath of Fire 2 has that in a massive way. Once the town progresses to the point where a mechanical chamber is discovered at the bottom of a well, you can recruit Eiichi and bring her back to research the advanced machinery. After a series of events, if you've saved Gainer, him and Eiichi figure out the inner workings of the device, and using Gainer himself to power it, the township is able to take flight. It's cool as heck seeing this entire town soaring through the skies. All this would be cool enough on its own to make the list, but the fact that you actually use the township in order to get the best ending of Breath of Fire 2 convinced me that it at least had to be in the number 4 spot on the list.
Number 3.
As you can see, I absolutely love when airships offer more than just a means of travel. I love to see a sense of home and community, but the Delphinus in Skies of Arcadia isn't quite that. Instead, it is a massive warship that the main cast have needed for so long. Taking on the powerful Valuan Empire, Vice and the gang have been completely outgunned since the start of the game. It isn't until you get some inside help from the Prince of Valua that you finally can even the odds and stand your ground against the warring airship-using Empire. The Delphinus may not have a homely feel to it, but the gigantic epic battles that are fought in this beast more than make up for it. One of the coolest things in Skies of Arcadia are its massive airship battles, and now that you've got the Delphinus on your side, you can recruit characters from around the world and add new abilities to the Delphinus' arsenal. For allowing you to finally be able to traverse the entire skies, giving you access to a super powerful gigantic cannon, and being able to kill a godlike Gigas. Along with the Valuan Empire, the Delphinus stands strong at the number 3 position.
Number 2.
Number 2 is a place that'll always be near and dear to my heart. I'm talking about Balam Garden from Final Fantasy VIII. As some of you may know, after playing Dragon Quest IV as a kid, I didn't really play any JRPGs until much later in life. I went from playing Dragon Warrior 1 and 4 to sticking mostly to action platformers like Mega Man, Castlevania, and even Sonic games. It wasn't until I got Final Fantasy VIII that I was welcomed back into the genre, and I immediately fell in love. Something that's always been important to me in video games, especially JRPGs, is world building, and boy does Final Fantasy VIII have that in spades. Now before I get to the actual number 2, I have to mention the incredible Ragnarok. The Ragnarok is a badass spaceship with clawed arms and a minigun attached to the front of it. But since I didn't really want to have more than one airship from a single game, I had to instead go with my heart and choose Balam Garden as my second favorite airship. Balam Garden is like a college for mercenaries. It's got classrooms, dorm rooms, an infirmary, and it was secretly an ancient Sentra shelter that could be used as a massive community airship. The main cast of the game lives and were raised in Balam Garden, so you develop a great sense of community with all the other students and characters who live and study there. The sense of dread when the Galbadian missile base launches its attack at your home is like nothing else. Squall and his friends scramble to get the ancient Sentra machinery beneath the garden working before the missiles reach their destination, destroying theirs and their friends' homes. Balam Garden is also involved in my favorite part of the entire game. You see, after Balam Garden takes flight, the Galbadians militarize their own garden, realizing that it is the same flight technology. They use their garden as a massive warship to invade and try to destroy Balam Garden. Seeing all your friends and the whole student body fighting to defend their home and garden is just so powerful. And with so many great moments in this game revolving around the garden, as well as it being a handy means of travel, while also hosting a ton of different side quests, Balam Garden easily earns its place as the number 2 JRPG airship of all time.
Number 1.
And my favorite airship of all time is the Lunar Whale from Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy IV is one of my favorite games of all time and is filled with a variety of different airships that are all capable of doing a variety of different things. But none of them can compare to the almighty Lunar Whale. The Lunar Whale is an ancient Lunarian ship that was used to travel between the Red Moon and the Earth. It was stored deep in the ocean near Mysidia, where it waited until it was needed again. When Golbez calls upon the Giant of Babel, the Mysidians know there is only one option to stop him, that being the Lunar Whale's ability to traverse space and reach the Red Moon. It was time to bring the fight to Golbez. That scene of the Lunar Whale ascending from the whirlpool will always be one of my most memorable gaming experiences. This thing was 3 to 4 times larger than any airship we had ever seen at the time. Not only was this the most epic airship of all time, but it was also your home away from home once you had journeyed to the moon. This futuristic vehicle could fully restore your health and had a place for all the characters to sleep and stay in. Heck, it even had room for a few stowaways. The massive scale of this airship, especially in a time when pretty much all airships looked the same, had everyone who played Final Fantasy IV in awe. Its reappearance as an airship you can actually get and fly in Final Fantasy XIV was also really well done. You can finally see all the intricate details on the outside of this powerful behemoth. And in Stranger of Paradise, you get to actually walk around inside this beast, giving it the modern day look it deserves. For all these reasons and more, Final Fantasy IV's Lunar Whale is the greatest JRPG airship of all time. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please tell me your favorite airships in the comments, and if you'd like to hang out, join me at least 3 nights per week on Twitch at twitch.tv/dookie03. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.